Let us rise up tonight with a greater readiness. Let us stand with a greater determination. Let us move on in these powerful days. These days of challenge to make America what it ought to be. We've got some difficult days ahead, but it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop, and I've looked over, and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. I'm not worried about anything, I'm not fearing any man. Our eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. 1960, students all over the South started sitting in at lunch hours. And I knew that as they were sitting in, they were really standing up for the best in the American dream, and taking the whole nation back to those great wells of democracy, which were dug deep by the founding fathers in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. We've got some difficult days ahead, but it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop, and I've looked over, and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know that we as a people will get to the promise.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the 20th session of the Queen's News Update with Andy's Randomness. Can't believe we're actually at 20 sessions of this already. Incredible. And if you're wondering what that was from, that was a songify of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's last speech from Memphis in 1968. Exactly the night before he was shot in Memphis, Tennessee. And this is, of course, the weekend, and Martin Luther King Day being Monday, the 20th, that we do honor the legacy of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King for what he did for mankind, standing up for civil rights. And right now, I'm sure if Reverend King was still around, he would be upset seeing the way this country is going right now. I don't want to make anything political, but especially with how society is decaying, I'm sure he would be heartbroken to see what's just going on. And I'll mention that if the Reverend was still around, he would be, I'm trying to think, 1928, so he would be 92 this year. Wow. But here's a picture of him from his famous I Have a Dream speech. And we'll get at the end of this video how the borough of Queens is going to celebrate the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr., which again, very quick reminder that Monday is a federal holiday in honor of the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. So, just remember, if you get a 3-day weekend, be thankful for him. Alright? Because if we didn't have Martin Luther King, it would be a regular Monday. So be thankful that we get to honor the legacy of Dr. King each and every year. Because if it wasn't for him, things would be a whole lot different in this country right now. I don't want to suggest some things, but we do have a lot to get into. So we have 15 articles from QNS.com. Let's just take a look at our digital editions, like we do for every week. So, in Northeast Queens, for the edition ending on January 16th, 2020, we have the New York Mets. If it'll load. Mets fans joined together for blood drive at Citi Field. So the Mets had a blood drive at Citi Field. So we are going to talk about the Mets because there is some important news we do need to get into regarding Mr. Carlos Beltran in just a second. We're also going to talk about this. This is a very important development for the famous tavern in Woodside that we talked about in last week's edition. So we will read that article later on in this video for the positive news segment, which again, in the positive news segment, we will talk about the tavern in Woodside that was at risk of closing but was saved by Mayor Bill de Blasio, as you see right here. along with celebrating the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So let's get to our first story. And that is the New York Mets and Carlos Beltran have agreed to part ways amid Major League Baseball cheating scandal that involved Carlos Beltran and the Houston Astros. The New York Mets and manager Carlos Beltran mutually agreed to part ways Thursday, January 16th, according to a statement released Thursday afternoon by Mets COO Jeff Wilpon and Executive Vice President and General Manager Brodie Van Wagenen. Major League Baseball revealed on Monday that Mr. Beltran was a key figure in the Houston Astros sign-stealing scandal when he was suited up as a player for the Houston Astros in 2017. The manager of the Houston team, A.J. Hitch, and Boston Red Sox manager Alex Cora, Hinch's bench coach for 2017, were each fired by their respective ball clubs after being implicated in the scandal. No players were punished as a result of the scandal, and Beltran was the only other player impacted. Carlos Beltran said in a statement on Thursday, "At a meeting this morning with Jeff and Brodie, we mutually agreed to part ways. I'm grateful to them for giving me the opportunity, but we agreed this decision is in the best interest of the team. I couldn't let myself be a distraction for the team. I wish the entire organization success in the future." Wilpon and Wagenen said the decision to part ways with Beltran was not an easy one. So I don't really want to get into any more quotes. So pretty much this cheating scandal goes back to when the Houston Astros were stealing pitching signs from other teams during the 2017 season. So I've seen a YouTube video about signs being stolen. So what I'm going to do right now is, I had it somewhere, but I will card it right now. Let's make sure I can time the card out correctly. So you should be seeing it right now. There's a video where there is proof that the Astros did cheat in 2017. I've seen it for myself, and there's clear evidence that the Astros cheated, stole signs from other pitchers, and used it to their advantage to win the World Series back in 2017. So, this makes me upset that, because of this, Joe Girardi lost his job. And I guarantee you right now, if Joe Girardi won the World Series with the Yankees in 2017, Joe Girardi would have gotten one more year. I'm just openly saying that because I still miss Joe Girardi. I will admit that. But, you know, at the end of the day, you really got to feel bad that, yeah, 3 teams, okay. One team was the whole benefactor of this. The Red Sox and the Mets had nothing to do with this. They are the victims here. The Astros are the ones who put themselves in this mess. So, the way things look right now, I know this is going to sound hilarious that I'm suggesting this idea. My old boss from LIJ, and we've gone to Mets games together over the years, because I have a current boss right now at Northwell. She was texting me this idea. So now the Mets get rid of Beltran, and maybe this is a long shot, but you never know. Anything can happen. What about Mike Piazza? It's a long shot, and Mike Piazza was on SNY, and he said when he was playing, stuff like this would never happen. So, maybe there's a little bit more credibility with Mike Piazza being the manager, because I've also heard a ludicrous theory from Matt Camper, who runs Camper News Network, that Terry Collins, the manager who helped the Mets win the pennant 5 years ago, in 2015, could come back. I don't even know if that would logically happen. And especially Piazza is young as a manager. So he would be capable of doing the job. But the situation now is that spring training is in a couple of weeks. And 3 teams in baseball, as of now, anything can change because I'm putting this up on Friday. Anything can change. anything's possible. I'm checking my phone right now. I don't see any notifications from my sports apps. Nothing from here. I mean, I don't see anything regarding the Mets right now. It's 3:36. I'm Googling the Mets on my smartphone, and, doesn't say anything else. Alright, here's another idea. What about Jessica Mendoza? The Mets advisor. She could become the first female manager. I could see that happening. And then NorthJersey.com today releases an article. I'm looking at it right now. Luis Rojas. Now, I don't know who that is. I don't really want to comment regarding that. Okay, he has interviewed for the job before. Eduardo Perez. Okay, so we'll see what that happens. Buck Showalter. Yes, I think they could use Buck Showalter. Terry Collins, but NorthJersey.com doesn't recommend the option of Mike Piazza. If my old boss, and again, I know she likes Mike Piazza very much. I've even seen her wear Mike Piazza t-shirts to work before. All right, she's gotten away with it without her supervisor knowing. So I can guarantee you this: me, her, along with her husband, every other Met fan should think about this idea. Mike Piazza. I know it's unconventional to think of this name, but I would love to see Mike Piazza back in Flushing. Take me back to the good old days of me going to Shea and going down the ramps, because honestly, I hate the stairwells at Citi Field. Right? Sorry to say it, but I hate the stairwells. Shea was very easy. I was always used to walking down those ramps at Shea. I like those ramps. That's why I liked walking around the ballpark back in the day. With Citi Field, I'm sorry to rant about Citi Field one last point. I just don't like the staircases. That's all. I just don't. Alright, now before I really blow a gasket regarding the Mets, this is where I need to blow a gasket over. This. Okay? So, right now, I'm going to show you a video from WABC regarding this, and then I'll read the Queen's Courier article. So, cue the video from Channel 7 from Wednesday, January 15th.
They stood in line before the doors opened, then poured in, packed shoulder to shoulder, filled to capacity. The line outside, wrapped around the block with countless riders waiting to get inside a meeting in Jackson Heights, Queens. It was an MTA Town Hall. It literally felt like you were on a rush hour train.
There's so many people that depend on these buses.
The meeting so the MTA can get feedback from riders about its proposal to overhaul the borough's bus network. They're turned out by riders to let the MTA know they hate it.
What's the new plan? Bring you to the nearest subway.
The bus they want you to take is going to take you to the 7 train that has no elevator or escalator.
Riders say the problem with the proposed plan is it would eliminate direct service to the Roosevelt Avenue Jackson Heights station. This is one of the busiest transit hubs in the entire system. Impacted by this plan, the Q33, the Q32, the Q29, Q49, Q66, and the Q53.
The Q49 is being completely eliminated, which is the lifeblood to this community. They're changing the Q66, which won't go to Astoria anymore. We have parents and children that need to go to Astoria because that's where their school is.
To hear these concerns, NYC Transit President Andy Byford in the flesh.
Nothing is set in stone. This is not a final plan. It's a very, 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 very early stage in the process. So we're here to listen.
The MTA says the overhaul is to address changes in ridership and demand. The goal is to create more direct routes, improve reliability and frequency of service.
Just put more buses on the route.
It'll be months before a final plan is released. In Jackson Heights, Stefan Kim, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
So you clearly saw how crowded that room was. It was completely crowded. Jonathan D. Souza from Passengers United was even there, and he told me the same thing. It was crowded in there. And what really disgusted me was people were booing Andy Byford. I'm like, are you kidding me? I like Andy Byford. He's God's blessing to New York City Transit. Sorry to be religious, and if I get demonetized for saying that, well, too bad. Alright, he's a blessing to the subways. He's the one that's implemented this new technology from happening. Well, it is happening. But still, you know? I needed to show you all that video to prove a point. Because that was disgusting seeing that. That was really disgusting seeing that from people booing Andy Byford. How could you boo Andy Byford like that? I mean, I know you people are upset about losing your buses. But I've shook Andy Byford's hand. So, booing somebody who I see once a month, I find that disrespectful. And for the record, he's gonna see me on Tuesday. We'll get to that in just a second on, my schedule and stuff like that. Because I just got to quickly check my emails, because this is regarding Astoria, of course, because I'm waiting for an email from a politician. Has this politician gotten back to me yet? Nope. Nothing back. I'll check Facebook in the meantime while I'm on my phone. I'll read this. So, Andy Byford took questions, comments from all sides Wednesday night in Jackson Heights. Residents barely gave transportation officials room to breathe during a workshop in the controversial Queens bus redesign. Rather than sending representatives to take the heat, Byford showed up in person and was greeted with an array of gripes and bus riders and pleas at several busy bus routes in the chopping block and the redesign plan. So, again, it was very hostile. I saw it on the news. You just saw that video from Channel 7, alright? That was very hostile. Alright? You never see anything like that happen at 2 Broadway that much. I mean, lately it's happened, but just trying to make sure that continue reading here while I look at Facebook. Okay, the workshop space contains with the rumpus room of the Southridge Senior Center was so packed. One attendee liked it to running a Queens bus rush hour. Okay, in that part of Queens, we're talking Northwest Queens specifically, bus routes like the Q49, Q32, Q33, and the Q66 are on the chopping block. And I'm sorry to use that term, but that's what I'm going to address regarding Fresh Meadows on Tuesday. Because that's what my speech is going to be about. Okay, Mr. Byford and MTA stressed that nothing is set in stone with the bus redesign plan. Okay, here is a quote from Andy Byford. I'm going to read this slowly. While we're offering the opportunity for you to do, and you do not have to take this up, we're saying, tell us what you like about the existing network. Tell us what you don't like, and what we should be aiming to do is leave in place what you like and improve what you don't like. And this was, again, people booing over him. But if we don't have conversations like this, I'm not a mind reader. I don't know. So it may be, well, there's some stuff that's sarcastic that might not want to change. Okay, so again, I'm busy just multitasking, looking for Facebook, because it may have to do with this event. Okay, nothing about it yet. Yep. I'll get to John Liu in just a second, because he does want to get involved in this. And he better keep his word. Alright, let's take a look at Q49 and Q53. Q49 goes to the main hub at 82nd Street, Jackson Heights, and a central connection to other subway lines and other buses. The Q53 is select bus route between Woodside and Rockaway Beach. And I've been on that bus before. Exactly. Exactly. All right. Jackson Heights Roosevelt is a main hub. Okay. You cannot get rid of that route. Let's just quickly Google this, because we can thankfully Google these bus routes. Okay, there we go. Let's see if I can pull up the website. We'll take a look at it. Okay, here we go. See? Look at this. Goes from Elmhurst, East Elmhurst, on Astoria Boulevard, and then it connects at 89th Street for the Q66. And it goes 35th Avenue, 75th Street, goes right to Broadway. Very simple bus route. Why would you want to get rid of it? That's what I agree with these people. I wouldn't get rid of it. I said, that's not really my territory. I'm only familiar with the 66 because it goes to Long Island City, and it would help me get to my deli near Thompson Street. I don't want to get into any more of this. Okay. So we got January 21st from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Greater Ridgewood Youth Council. Okay. You know, let me look up Barry Gradenchik, because he's going to be in this article right here. I don't really want to get into any more of these dates. All right, we're having one tonight in Far Rockaway. Let's see what else. We got one in Flushing, which again, Flushing is, why would you want to have it in Flushing? Seriously, why in Flushing? Why in Flushing? I mean, Kew Gardens is one thing. Look at this. None of the meetings are even on a Friday. Shame on them. There needs to be a meeting on a Friday. Unbelievable. Or at least a Thursday if it was in Glen Oaks. I can go to it. Ay vey. Okay, I don't see anything regarding, I saw something regarding Barry Gradenchik, but if I don't see anything, then I do apologize. Let's see if I can pull up Barry Gradenchik. Just because he was in a news article recently. Yeah, here we go. This is the one I was looking for. Yeah, so let's talk about Bayside and Whitestone. So what they're thinking of doing is, they're thinking of affecting the QM2, QM32, and QM20 lines, which would be called the QMT 163. I mean, I don't understand any of this. See what I mean? They really want to impact express buses. I'm just upset. Alright, so again, John Liu was made aware of this, but John Liu has not made a public event yet. And it's Thursday. I haven't gotten any emails from the person who I spoke to on the phone. I'm getting antsy here. And not just me, but Councilman Gradenchik, I'm sure, is antsy. He got back to me on Twitter back on Wednesday. He wants to attend the forums that John Liu is proposing. And this is what I heard over the phone from the staffer at the office in Bayside. John Liu's office is in Bayside. Person told me on the phone, I'm not going to give names because then, you know, privacy on YouTube. I don't want to do that. But the point is, Barry, me, and I also spoke to a member from Community Board 7. I'm not going to say who. I got CB7 involved in this too. So I reached out to 8. They weren't reliable. 7 actually got back to me. It's actually meet up with somebody once a week from 7. I'm not going to explain how, but 7 does want this meeting to happen in Bayside and Belrose. So I heard back from this person, and they told me the same thing. So we're all getting antsy about this. I mean, I'm angry. Remember, I'm the one angry here. I'm not the one who wants to just boo Andy Byford. Why would I want to boo Andy Byford? Why? I see the man once a month at 2 Broadway whenever I have issues. I get my 2 minutes. Alright, so I'm just checking Barry Godenchik very quickly. This is an old page. Oh. Yeah, Joe Buchanan. Yeah, I know who Joe Buchanan is. I know who he is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't see anything else from Barry Godenchik on Facebook. Alright, let's get into how you maybe can salvage here in Queens. Because I encourage you, if you can get out of work, get out of work. Alright? Because remember, I speak at finance once a month. That's because of my schedule. Alright? I can't go to NYCT at 10 o'clock in the morning. Alright? That's not good. Alright? So, I deal with my own with Larry Shorts. Don't worry about me, folks. I'm going to deal with Larry on Tuesday. Because he's going to deal with me. Or, worst comes to worst, I'll deal with Sarah Feinberg. I dealt with her last month. Okay. Now, as far as anybody else who's interested, MTA committee meetings. This upcoming Tuesday, January 21st at 2 Broadway, 20th floor, Lower Manhattan. Here we go. New York City Transit MTA Bus Committee Meeting. So if you're from Queens and you want to speak out about this, please do so. And if you can't do Tuesday, you could do it on Thursday. Yep. The full board's meeting on Thursday. You know what that means? You could talk to Patrick Joseph Foy, the chairman of the MTA, a.k.a. Mr. Port Washington. That's what I call him from now on. Alright, let's get to some other news. Falling debris fatally struck 67-year-old woman in Flushing. 67-year-old woman was struck in the head by falling debris from a building in Flushing Thursday morning, has died according to authorities. Sang-jak, a resident from Rockaway Avenue in Westbury, was walking eastbound on 41st Road and Main Street at 9:44 a.m. when she was struck by a piece of plywood that allegedly fell from the building scaffolding. She was taken to New York Presbyterian Queens in critical condition, where she was succumbed to her injuries. So, right. Oh no. I think I know where this is. This is right by Burger King. Oh boy. Oh boy. You know, you just can't make this stuff up. Queens-born actress Aquafina will voice 7 train announcements for a week before her new show premieres. Aquafina, how funny is that? Aquafina is Nora from Queens. It will premiere on January 22nd at 10:30 on Comedy Central. They partnered with the MTA for this promotion. Pre-recorded messages featuring entertaining jabs at each station spot in addition to her traditional station arrival information. Interesting. So you may hear a different voice. Be prepared. That's all I'm saying. Now let's get into politics. Mr. Eric Adams from Brooklyn is currently leading the field in campaign fundraising for 2021 mayoral race. So, is he running? Let me see if there's a Wikipedia article. Here we go. Okay. It says, potential candidates include Public Advocate Humani Williams, Council Speaker Cory Johnson, Scott Stringer, former Brigadier General Lori Sutton. Oh, who's she? I don't get this. Now, okay, somebody from the military. Good. Be a huge change of difference. She a Democrat or a Republican? That's what I want to know. Because right now we don't have a, we don't have that. Alright, I just don't get it. Oh, so she is LGBT. Alright. So I have to assume she's Democrat then. Alright, so interesting. So Adams raised $437,000. Cory Johnson, $329,000. Ruben Diaz, $94,000. So, seriously, no Republicans have announced yet? What's going on here? I know I'm getting a little bit angry about this, but I don't get it. I just don't get it. God, seriously, no Republicans? That's what really gets me annoyed right now. Petition filings reveal a whopping 9 candidates running for Queensboro president. Now, everybody knows who I want. This guy, Jimmy Van Bremer. Okay. So we do have a Republican running. I'll have to learn more about Daniel Sumayo. Former Assistant District Attorney Jim Quinn. Right. Right. So I don't really want to get more into this, but 9. That's just crazy. Everly Brown, Costa Constantinos, Elizabeth Crowley, Daniel Mayo, Anthony Miranda, Jim Quinn, Donovan Richards, Jimmy Van Bremer, and Yeo Yin. Okay. There would have been 10 if Jazina Jagar Imel got it. Okay. Crazy. Constantinos got almost 10,000 signatures. And lastly, let's talk about my Congresswoman Grace Ming. So, she's launching an emergency drive to bring supplies to Puerto Rico. Okay. Congresswoman Ming is collecting basic necessities to send Puerto Rico, such as water, first aid, flashlights, non-perishable foods, batteries, diapers, and feminine hygiene products. Okay, so products can be dropped off, right, January 15th, February 5th, 40-13, 159th Street, Suite C in Flushing. Hours for drop-off are 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Okay, so there you have it. I don't want to get into Trump funding. That's another issue on another hand. Now, we're going to do Crime Watch. And a lot has to do in Fresh Meadows this week, unfortunately. Our first incident involves anti-Semitism, right by St. John's University. Police are investigating an anti-Semitic incident in Fresh Meadows where swastikas were discovered written on the inside of a car that had been broken into and vandalized the past weekend. The crime was reported to the 107 precinct around 9:30 p.m. on Sunday, January 12th. 107 precinct is investigating this as a hate crime. In addition to the swastikas, the vandals wrote foul language on the seats of a car, which was parked in front of 76-22 173rd Street, according to the 107 precinct. Again, please, if they know this is a Fresh Meadows story, they should keep bringing up the fact that this is an investigation done by the 107 precinct from Jewel Avenue. Unbelievable. Interesting, the governor's getting involved with this. Governor Andrew Cuomo directed the State Police Hate Crimes Task Force to assist in the investigation. So the state's getting involved in this. That's a big deal having this happen in Fresh Meadows. Wow. Okay, this address, I did look it up. It's right near St. John's University. So I know that address pretty well. It's Union Turnpike's right near there. Okay, the governor said he was disgusted by reports of swastikas and hateful language found written inside a car that was broken into Queens. The blatant anti-Semitic attacks were meant to install fear and feed the cancer of the hate that has become pervasive across the nation in recent years. Right. Oh, I don't even want to read that. Ah, boy. Do apologize about that. Do apologize about that picture I came up on the screen. If you did see it there, I'm disgusted. I'm like, are you kidding me? I wanted to go to the other Fresh Meadows story before we get to that. Okay. Fresh Meadows now once again. What's going on in Fresh Meadows besides the anti-Semitism? Okay. 8 robberies. Okay, this took place from December 9th to December 24th of last year. There might be a third suspect, so 3 suspects are wanted. Okay, one incident, one suspect approached 8 women, grabbed their respective purses before fleeing either on foot or in a car. Okay. I don't want to get into too much information because that won't be useful. Let me just make sure. Yeah, okay. Tyleek Washington, 22-year-old man from St. Albans, was arrested on Christmas Eve, the day of the 8th and final reported robbery. Mr. Washington was charged with robbery, grand larceny, possession of a forged instrument, 2 counts of identity theft, criminal possession of stolen property, theft of service, unlawful use of a credit card, and unlawful possession of personal identification information. It's probably a credit card number. Okay, first incident reported on Monday, December 9th around 7 p.m. It happened at 67th Avenue and 194th Lane. Individual approached a 44-year-old woman from behind and grabbed her purse. After a beat struggle for control of the bag, the woman fell to the ground and the man made off with the purse. Around a week later, on Sunday the 15th, around 1 p.m., an individual snatched a purse belonging to a 47-year-old woman while entering a silver car and sped off, cops said. The incident took place in the vicinity of 67th Avenue and Peck Avenue. Okay, later that day, around 3:15, an individual approached a 49-year-old woman from behind, grabbed her purse, and ran off on foot. Oh, boy. I mean, this is just dangerous. I mean, look how many reported incidents were there. Okay, on the 20th, 6:30 p.m., an individual approached a 67-year-old woman, grabbed the purse and shoved it to the ground, police said. The individual hopped into a black sedan and fled the scene. The woman later reported that she had $350 in cash, a cell phone, and 2 credit cards inside her purse. According to the 111 precinct, an investigation later revealed that one of the woman's credit cards was used at Sephora, located at 21201 26th Avenue. See what I mean? Why aren't they being specific with precincts? That's 111's ground. Bay Terrace. Unbelievable. Again, if it's a Bay Terrace incident, 111 takes care of that. Jeez. Alright, let's go back to the confines of the 107. On Sunday, December 22nd, the duo allegedly committed 2 robberies. The first occurred around 10 a.m. in the vicinity of 188th Street and 73rd Avenue. An individual approached a 44-year-old woman, grabbed a purse, pushed her to the ground, and fled, according to the 107 precinct. Then, around noon, in the vicinity of 199th Street and 69th Avenue, a 51-year-old woman reported that an individual grabbed a purse and fled in the sedan. The last reported incident, according to the 107 precinct, on Christmas Eve, an individual grabbed a 40-year-old woman's purse around 8:35 a.m. near Peck Avenue and 67th Avenue. You gotta be kidding me. Let me read this one. 5 minutes later, a 38-year-old woman was robbed of her purse around 190th Lane and 69th Avenue. Oh, boy. Around 9:55 a.m., officers from the 107 precinct apprehended Mr. Washington. Okay, good. They are looking for another suspect, so we'll read the details while the video's playing. Okay, this man is wanted for a gray hooded sweater, a dark colored jacket, and blue jeans. Okay, the vehicles that were carjacked are described as a gray 4-door Mercedes-Benz and a dark-colored BMW. Okay, so this incident was reported in the 107, so I am going to give the 107 Detective Squad's number right now. I have it on my phone, so please stand by. Here we go. The 107 Precinct Detective Squad number is 718-969-6844. So again, 107 Detective Squad, 718-969-6844. Because again, these incidents took place in the confines of the 107. So it's just best to directly reach 107 Precinct with this phone number. If you do not want to contact the 107 Precinct directly, you can give Crime Stoppers a call toll-free at 1-800-577-TIPS-8477. For Spanish speakers, that is 888 57 74782. Pista. Okay, so that's for Spanish speakers. The public can also submit their tips by logging onto the Crime Stoppers website at www.nypdcrimestoppers.com or on Twitter at NYPDTips. All calls are strictly confidential. So again, before we move on to the next article, this suspect again is wanted for the robbery spree in Fresh Meadows we just talked about. So again, here's the video. Once again, 107 Detective Squad is 718-969-6844. Alright, next up, let's talk about something disgusting. Alright, so I talked to you all last week about a 92-year-old woman from Richmond Hill who was murdered and was declared a homicide. Well, we now have details of the man who murdered her. Here he is right here. Raiz Khan. Okay, here we go. He is 21 years old. The police from the 106 precinct charged Mr. Khan back on Friday, January 10th with murder and sex abuse. So in other words, he's being charged with rape. Seriously, they can't just say he's being charged for rape? sex abuse. They're trying to be politically correct these days. My God. Sorry for saying that. Okay, I don't want to get into the details because that's just disgusting. But I do want to read a quote from District Attorney Melinda Katz. In quote from the District Attorney's office in Kew Gardens, in this case, the defendant is alleged to have attacked and sexually assaulted the elderly woman on the street. See, this is what I mean. The sentence should have said attacked and raped. My goodness. Seriously, I hate politically correct legal terms. Anyhow, this was senseless, brutal act of violence. The victim was found with her clothes pulled above her waist and near death. The defendant had been apprehended and now faces spending the rest of his life behind locked bars. Well, remember, folks, Elliot Spitzer, back in 2007, if I'm wrong, maybe it wasn't Spitzer. Right, Spitzer resigned in 2006. So Patterson was the one who got rid of the death penalty, because I remembered it was 2007. Because I'm thinking, who's the governor in 2007? Right, it was Patterson. Because Elliot Spitzer... No, wait, had to be Spitzer. Let me make sure. Let me make sure. Hang on. Right, so it was Spitzer. Shame on you, Elliot Spitzer, for getting rid of the death penalty. Trust me, this guy could have gotten the death penalty. You know, but the jail system wants to be overcrowded, it seems. Oh boy. I don't want to get into any more details, but at least we know that this sick individual could just brutally do something like that. You know, doesn't that going to make you vomit? I know I would want to vomit. And the 92-year-old woman was Maria Freitas. So, just want to get that out of the record. Now, let's talk about graffiti in Bayside. Now, graffiti is our way of life, it seems. We seem to see it on box trucks. We seem to see it on buildings. We seem to see it on the subway lately. But this graffiti crosses the line, it seems. Apparently, we had graffiti tagged MS-13 with Bayside Church and School. Okay, the Diocese of Brooklyn recently released surveillance video of the vandal defacing the entrance to Sacred Heart of Jesus Catholic Church and Catholic Academy in the early morning of Sunday, January 12th. Okay, video showed the masked suspect walking up to the church and school before using a can of spray paint. The suspect tagged MS-13 on the walls near the main entrance. Alright, so this is a 111, matter. I'm going to look up their phone number while I, NYPD 111 precinct. Alright, I just want to make sure I got the phone number. There we go. Got it. I know, I want to make sure I got it right here. So again, you clearly see in this picture, MS-13 was tagged, which is just disgusting. You would have to think that that's just awful to see that. Okay, this church is located at 215-35 38th Avenue, so that's definitely 111. Right. Police from 111 in conjunction with the Hate Crimes Task Force are currently investigating. Okay. I don't want to really get into MS-13 that much. Right. There you have it. Just disgusting. Alright, so I gave the Crime Stoppers phone number earlier. I don't want to get into that. So, since this is a 111 precinct matter, I will give the phone number right now to the 111 precinct on Northern Boulevard and Bayside. The phone number is 718-279-5200. Once again, this is for connection to vandalism that was reported at Sacred Heart of Jesus Catholic Church in Bayside. So once again, the phone number is 718-279-5200. If you directly have a tip for the 111, they really do want to hear from you if you have any information regarding the vandalism that took place on Sunday, January 12th. Okay, here we go. Woodside, what happened here? So look at this. So a 44-year-old woman was assaulted in Woodside last Saturday, January 11th. Authorities say the woman was... Hang on, I just want to plug in my tablet. The woman was walking in front of 40-33 68th Street at 11:20 a.m. on January 11th when a man on a bike approached and struck her in the face with a hard object, which was described as a random unprovoked attack. The suspect, who was described as 20 to 30 years old and was last seen wearing a dark jacket and gray pants, fled the scene southbound 68th Street. The woman suffered a laceration to her mouth that caused bleeding. EMS arrived at the scene and transported to a nearby hospital. Police released on Monday night's surveillance footage video and photos taken from the vicinity of the incident. Okay, there we go. So here is the suspect wanted on the bike. Alright. Very quickly, I want to look up another story. Because I knew I had to look up one story earlier. Alright. We'll just read it from the Post. This is what I wanted to read earlier. Shocking video shows moment Queens landlord is fatally shoved down flight of stairs. Video obtained by the New York Post captures the moment a Queens landlord was shoved down a flight of stairs during an argument with his tenant on Sunday. So this happened back on January 12th. The footage shows 71-year-old Edgar Monscato talking on a cell phone on a stoop of his property on 102nd Street in Corona around 3 p.m. So we'll now mute the video. And you'll see the video in just a second here. And again, this is just very disturbing. So, the door of the building suddenly jerks open, and a brief scuffle between Mocano and his tenant, identified by sources as 22-year-old Alex Garcias, ensues, the video shows. And there you go, pushed right down the steps. That is very disgusting. My God. Yep. Of course, he put his hands on his head. He did something wrong. And look. Wearing short-sleeved shirts because it was warm on Sunday. It was 70. Okay. I don't really want to get into any more. Alright. McConnell was pronounced dead at 12:30 p.m. Monday after being life support with head trauma in New York City Health Hospital's Elmhurst. The tenant initially told the cops the fall was an accident and happened as he tried to carry his mattress out of the building and hit the front door. Alright, so there you go. That's what happened. Right, now let's get into a story from Astoria. A man goes on punching spree down Steinway Street in Astoria. The NYPD is asking for the public's assistance in identifying a man who went on a menacing punching rampage to Astoria on the past weekend. The punching spree began around 5:15 p.m. on Saturday, January 11th, when the unidentified man approached a 50-year-old woman walking in front of 31-21 Steinway Street with her 9-year-old daughter, according to the NYPD. The man punched the woman in the face and ran off, heading north on Steinway, cops said. The woman traveled to a medical facility by private means with a bloody and swollen face. Later on, at Yogi Lala Jewelers at 30-7 Steinway Street at 5:20 p.m., the suspect displayed a knife and threatened several customers at the entranceway, according to the police. He then pushed and attempted to punch a 61-year-old victim. Once again, the suspect fled on Steinway. There were no injuries reported at the second location. The third and final act on Steinway Street, located at the address of 28-33, the suspect approached a 45-year-old woman walking in front of the building. The man punched the woman in the face and fled on foot to 30th Avenue. The woman was reported having pain and redness in her face as a result of the attack. Okay, we have a video of the suspect approaching Yogi Lala Jewelers. Yep. Probably mentally ill. That's what I'm thinking. You don't just randomly punch people like that. My God. I do apologize. The video is having an issue playing, it seems. There we go. Oh, boy. A scrap. They must have edited it out. Jackson Heights, what happened? Crook steals strap hanger, cell phone, and wallet. Cops are searching for the crooks who assaulted and robbed the 19-year-old strap hanger on a northbound E train at the Jackson Heights Roosevelt Avenue and 74th Street station back on January 2nd. The two identified males approached the male victim on the subway and demanded money. When the victim refused, the suspect punched the victim in the face and snatched the cell phone and wallet, which contained approximately $300 cash. The individuals then fled on put to parts unknown. The victim was removed to Jamaica Hospital in stable condition. Police described one of the suspects as 5 feet 8 inches tall, 160 pounds with short black hair. He was last seen wearing a blue do-rag, white t-shirt, black jeans, and bright yellow sneakers. The second suspect, 6 feet tall, 180 pounds with black hair, last seen wearing a black t-shirt, gray pants, and white sneakers. Another hit and run in Queens. You can't make this stuff up. Why did it happen this time? Mass theft. And I do agree with former city councilman Sal Albanese, and he tweeted this out earlier. You know, the media just doesn't want to report on it anymore. It's like they don't really care. Okay, here we go. Happened last Friday night, January 10th. A Queens driver was arrested and charged in connection with a motor vehicle collision that led to the death of a pedestrian. So this pedestrian was struck in the vicinity of 58th Road in the Queens Midtown Expressway just before 5:30 p.m. on January 10th. Upon arriving at the scene, officers discovered 68-year-old Queens resident Yululanlu lying on the road with trauma to her head and body. EMS arrived and transported Lu to New York City Health Hospital's Elmhurst when she was pronounced dead. Okay. An investigation by NYPD Highway District Collision Investigation Squad found the 33-year-old George Guzman was traveling in the right lane of the eastbound Queens Midtown Expressway in a white 2020 Chevy Express van. Guzman attempted to make the right turn on 58th Road when he struck Lu, who was crossing the street from west to east in the marked crosswalk. Upon impact, Lu was thrown to the road before getting struck by a vehicle with a second time, according to authorities. Guzman remained at the scene and was taken into custody. Police charged Guzman later Friday night with failing to yield to a pedestrian and failing to use due care, causing serious injuries. Cops investigate death of infant twins in East Elmhurst homeless shelter. Okay, this happened back on January 10th. Right, because I remember Pix 11 covered this. Okay, law enforcement sources said the horrifying discovery was made at 3:42 p.m. on January 10th inside Cambia The Landing, described as a temporary shelter for families located at 94-00 Ditmars Boulevard in East Elmhurst. Officers in the 115 precinct, they responded for assistance, found the baby girl and boy dead, both 2 months old, unconscious, and unresponsive in the shelter lobby. Both children were said to be in cardiac arrest. Alright, so the babies were taken to New York City Health Hospital's Elmhurst. Both babies were pronounced dead. Okay, medical examiner will determine the cause of their death. Okay, citing sources, WABC TV reported the twins' fathers told police that he had laid the children down for a nap and he left the room. So that's just sad. So, Cambia and The Landing, Opened in 2015 as a former hotel located near LaGuardia Airport. I don't want to get into this quote right here, but it's just sad reading this. Okay, so we got 2 more stories. Let's talk about our positive news stories. So, last week we talked about Near's Tavern. So, here's what happened here. Mayor de Blasio's office helped the bar's landlord to table and negotiate a lease with owner Boyce and Gordon that will ensure it would stay open for another 5 years, with the option to renew for 5 more. So, I'm just glad it's staying open. Alright? So, Near's is staying open. That's the main thing. Just want to get everybody the heads up on that. Alright, lastly, how is Queens celebrating Martin Luther King weekend? Okay, let's get into the events. I'm trying to figure it out. I don't want to really go into it that long. Okay, on Martin Luther King Day, State Senator James Sanders Jr. is hosting a STEM education event called Blueprints for Success in Far Rockaway from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 10-45 Naomi Street. Alright, so there we go. Elsewhere around Queens, the Greater Allen AME Cathedral will be having a presentation of a play called The Day Harlem Saved Dr. King. Alright, so they'll have it at Monday beginning at 11 a.m. Tickets are available in the Allen Bookstore with a $35 per nation per adult and $15 for children under 12. The cathedral is in Jamaica, 110-31 Merrick Boulevard. Okay, the Robert Ross Johnson Family Center in Jamaica will host its 5th annual MLK Day of Service with food drive with their pantry located at 172-17 Linden Boulevard from 1 to 4 p.m. Participants can bring in food such as canned tuna, turkey, spam, spaghetti, macaroni, oatmeal, grits, and bagged rice. Used eyeglasses. Interesting. The Long Island Marriott at Uniondale, a Queens Village resident, Dr. Arthur Brian Lender, will be honored by Adelphi University on Monday. Interesting. Right then, so there you have it. That's how Queens is going to be celebrating Martin Luther King Day. Alright, so this will now conclude our 20th session of the Queens News Updates. Thank you all for watching. Until the next one, please take care.